Coriolanus is a decorated Roman soldier whose name is Caius Marcius at the beginning of the play. He is a war machine. He's monumentally arrogant and is contemptuous of the fickle mind of the mob.
It's a story about a man who is groomed for greatness and who is a great man, but does not make that transition from being a brilliant military leader into a brilliant politician. Coriolanus can't do that. He's too pure to himself.
I play a character called Volumnia, who is the mother of Coriolanus, and she focuses all her love and attention, which is considerable, on her only son. She absolutely adores him, and she sees it as his duty not only to become a warrior, but to become a consul and a leader of Rome.
He comes back from the war covered in scars, and it makes her giddy with pleasure. One of her lines, she says, "Blood more becomes a man than guilt his trophy." You know, she takes physical pleasure in the blood he sheds for Rome.
Amongst all of Shakespeare's writing, it's probably the play that is the most visceral, that talks most about the belly, the wounds, cuts, gashes, blood. There's this incredibly rich poetical life to it.
Everybody talks about this beautiful body and also all the scars that appear on it.
He has to show them to the... His body is public property in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Volumnia thinks much more of the potential office he obtained from doing this, whereas Virgilia, my character, thinks of him as the man, her husband, and she is concerned about, him getting killed, which is, not an unreasonable concern to have with someone in a war.
If you believe in democracy, as I do, it's very hard to stomach the things he says, because he holds the people in such deep contempt. But at the same time, he's so pure-hearted and so honest that there is something admirable about his purity. I think audiences, perhaps, and readers in the past have struggled with access to Coriolanus because he is so hard, because he seems impenetrable. But that's the thing that makes him most interesting as a character. He is a man who's denied himself the most relatable human feelings. He's someone who feels invulnerable and impenetrable. He's not someone who is given easily to charm or friendliness or even smiling. I found myself unable to help admiring his purity in some regard, that there is honesty, and his inability to lie and dissemble was something that was incredibly rare and uncynical. There is something, I think, very compelling about seeing this character live at a pitch of extremity that many of us would be afraid to live at. He's someone who has no fear of death. He's someone who has a distinct and extraordinary physical courage, and one I think that is very rarely found in our society. I was consciously wanting to do Shakespeare on stage, and then Josie suggested Coriolanus, and I didn't know it that well. I'd seen Ralph Fiennes' film, which I thought was terrific. But when I read it, I was immediately captivated by the drama of what happens when a soldier is pretty much against his will drawn into the political arena, because the conviction and the courage that you need to excel on the battlefield is very different from the skill set you need to make laws and to bend and dissemble and keep a sort of political equilibrium. And he's like a firework in the Senate in a dangerous way, because he has very belligerent, stringent views about how things should be done. And he unsettles the balance of power in Rome and becomes an exile and a kind of totalitarian fascist. Well, comparing it to Hollywood, I mean, when you make Hollywood films, they give you they give you the rewrites on the day that you shoot, and they are unfortunately not of the same quality as the ancient first folio that we've just seen. I find it personally very thrilling in quite a sort of nerdy way to sit and hold these pages, which were printed 400 years ago. And because when, as an actor, when you approach Shakespeare, you're always aware of trying to make language that is 400 years old, contemporary, accessible, relatable, and new minted, because it's possible. The wisdom in it and you know, human nature hasn't changed. And you're trying to open that up for audiences, saying, look, we're still the same. We still fall in love, we still fall out of love, we still fight with our fathers, we still create obstacles, we still suffer from what are construed as the 7 deadly sins. You know, Shakespeare knew that. And you're trying to open that up and present it so that the language doesn't seem archaic or remote. And essentially open up the echo of 400 years of human nature. And so as an actor, you're always aware of that. And then to actually hold the pages that are, in fact, 400 years old is a very unique thing, and one I find really exciting.
Нет, только не